They
Hey, how's everyone doing today? Today we are going to learn about the order of operations. All right, order of operations is a way we do math, solve math expressions, and they are there so everybody can solve the problem, do it the same way, and get the same answer. Okay, so step one in order of operations is called grouping symbols. And grouping symbols can be parentheses, they can be brackets, they can be absolute values. They can even be things that are underneath a radical. Like if I had 2 plus 7 underneath a radical, that can count as a grouping because it's grouped underneath the radical sign. All right, so that's step one, it's called grouping symbols. Our step two is exponents, and that can also include square roots. The opposite of squaring something is taking the square root, so they have the same power, so therefore they're done in the same step. Step three is multiplication and division, and we do whatever comes first. So we're going to read our problem from left to right, just like how we read this sentence, multiplication and division, right? We're going to read it from left to right, and whatever comes first is what we are going to do first. All right, step four is addition and subtraction. And once again, we do whatever one comes first. So you might hear some people say how they remember this. The way I was always taught was GMDOS. G for groupings, E for exponent, M and D for multiply and divide, A and S for add and subtract. And multiply and divide, we want to go from left to right, whatever comes first. Same with add and subtract. We want to read from left to right, and we do whatever comes first. All right, so let's do a couple practice problems, and that way you can see the order of operations. All right, when I see an expression like this, the first thing I do is I write GMDOS down the side to help remind me of the steps and in what order I do them in. That's important, right? So my first thing is grouping. So I want to do my grouping symbols first. I see some brackets here, and then I see some stuff inside those brackets. So I see parentheses inside those brackets. So I want to do that first. So 22 minus 17 will give me 5. All right, that's still in this bracket, so I'm gonna put that there. I still have a 9 there, I'm gonna bring that down. All right, then let's see here. Then I have a plus sign, and then I have a 5, I'm gonna bring that down. And then I have this parentheses, I can do that as well. 1 plus 2 is 3. So I'm gonna bring that 3 down, and then I'm gonna close my bracket. All right, so now I'm still inside of a grouping here, so I wanna do this grouping. And inside this grouping, I have 5 plus 5 times 3. Well, if I look at my order of operations here, I see multiply shows up before adding. So before I add 5 plus 3, I have to do this 5 times 3 here. 5 times 3 is 15, and then I can bring everything else down. All right, so I'm still inside of that grouping, I'm still inside of that bracket. I have 5 plus 15 here now, so 5 plus 15 would give me 20, and now I'm finally done with my bracket. I have 20 inside of it, and on the outside I still have that 9. When a number is next to a parentheses or next to a bracket like this one, that means multiply, so I'm going to multiply. 9 times 20. Let's see here, what is 9 times 20? Well, 10 times 20 would be 200. 1 less 20 would be 180. So this would be 180. That is my final answer, and that is how we use the order of operations to get that answer. All right, let's try this one over here on the right. Let's see, I have the absolute value of negative 7 plus 3 minus the square root of 81 over 9 plus 1/2 squared. All right, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. All right, so first thing, grouping. Absolute value bars count as groupings. So let's do that first. The absolute value of negative 7 is 7. All right, cool. So let's keep going on. So minus the square root of 81 divided by 9 plus 1/2 squared. All right, so what's my next step? I'm done with my groupings. My next step is I see exponents. I see a square root sign here, so I want to do that. The square root of 81 is 9. So that leaves me with 9 over 9. And then I can bring down everything else. This can bring down this 7 and this plus 3. And I can bring down that minus sign. And then I have another exponent here. I have a 1/2 squared. So a 1/2 squared means 1/2 times 1/2. Or I can put that in my calculator. I can do 1/2. Let's get out of there. There we go. 1/2 squared is right here. And that gives me 0.25. So let's put that here, 0.25. All right, so let's go through it. I did my groupings, I did my exponents. My next one is multiply or divide. Well, let's see here. I have a divide right here. I have 9 divided by 9. A fraction bar means divide. 9 divided by 9 would give me 1, and then I can bring everything else down. I'm done with my multiplying and my dividing. Since there was no multiplying, I didn't have to worry about that. I only had to do the division problem right here with that fraction bar. All right, so now I'm left with add or subtract, and I want to do this from left to right, whatever comes first. So 7 plus 3 comes first. So 7 plus 3 would give me 10. 10, and then I have this minus 1 plus 0.25. All right, I'm still doing adding, subtracting. I do whatever comes first, left to right. 10 minus 1 comes first, so I'm going to do that 10 minus 1, and that gives me 9. And then now I can do that 9 plus 0.25, and that will give me 9.25. And that is my final answer, and that is how we got that answer using the order of operations. All right, let's go on to our next problem here, this bottom left one, GEMDAS. All right, so GEMDAS, I'm going to write that over here so I don't forget. Groupings, and then exponents, and then multiply and divide, and then we add or subtract. All right, so let's see, do I have any groupings? I do, right here. I got something underneath this radical here. This 8 plus 73 is grouped underneath the radical. 8 plus 73 gives me 81. And that square root sign is going to stay right above it. All right, and then that is my only grouping, so I can bring everything else down. All right, my next step is exponents. Do I have any exponents? Oh, I got a bunch of exponents here. I have square root signs, which count as exponents. The square root of 81 is 9. I'm going to bring down this 10 so I don't forget about it, and I'm going to bring down that minus sign so I don't forget about it. I have an exponent here, this 7 squared. 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. And there was a plus in front, so I'm going to bring down that plus. And then I see a minus, and then I have another exponent thing here, this radical. The square root of 49 is 7, because 7 times 7 gives me 49. So now I'm done with my exponents. So my next is multiply or divide. And I do not have any multiply or divide, so I'm done with that step. So now I do add or subtract, and I do that from left to right. 10 minus 9 gives me 1, and then I can bring down the rest of the stuff. Now I'm left with 1 plus 49 minus 7. Well, plus comes before that minus, so I'm going to do that. 1 plus 49 would give me 50. And then I have 50 minus 7, which will give me 43. And that is our final answer. And we got that by using the order of operations and GEMDAS. All right, my last one over here, I have this absolute value bar on top. So that is going to be a grouping. So I'm going to do that first. So negative 4 minus 20 would give me negative 24, but it's in an absolute value bar. Absolute value bars make anything inside of it positive because they want to know the distance from 0. So the distance from 0, it is 24 units away from 0. So it just becomes 24 over 8. All right, and then I still have this plus, and then I have this square root of 121. All right, so I'm done with my groupings. My next one is exponents. A radical counts as exponents. Square roots counts as exponents. The square root of 121 is 11. And then I can bring everything else down. 24 over 8 over here. And then my next one is multiply or divide. Well, a fraction bar means divide. So I can do 24 divided by 8. And 24 divided by 8 gives me 3. So I'm left with 3 plus 11. I'm done with my multiplying and dividing. My last step is add or subtract. And I only have one thing here. I just have to add them. 3 plus 11 will give me 14. And that is my final answer. And I got that by using GEMDAS, which is the order of operations. All right, so order of operations. First thing we do is grouping. Second thing we do is exponents or square roots. Third thing we do is multiply or divide from left to right. Fourth thing we do is add or subtract from left to right, whatever comes first. And then if you do that every single time, you will get the right answer every single time, and you'll ace every single question you come across. All right, if you ever have any questions, ask a teacher. See you next time.